everyone. Hope you all are in the best of health and spirits. We are all set for yet another exciting conversation today. For our new audiences today, the We Talk series brings to you the most sought after voices from the industry and for the industry who share their valuable insights with us over brief conversations about what's going on in the HR ecosystem, what's new to come, and most importantly, what's keeping HR leaders on their toes. So today we have a very special guest joining us. Please join me in welcoming him. He is Gaurav Garg, Head HR at No Broker. Gaurav started his career with consulting and managed multiple projects encompassing business transformations, performance management, change management, technology transformation, and others. He then moved on to the HR role and has been managing the end-to-end HR cycle for organizations with special focus on talent management. Gaurav has a versatile track record of performance in both professional and academic career. An ambitious person who believes in delivering efficient and effective HR services and wants HR to act as true business partners. With that, a very warm welcome, Gaurav.
Thanks, Besaki.
Thank you, Gaurav. It's indeed a pleasure to have you with us today. So, start off with today's discussion, Gaurav. My first question for you would be, if you can walk us through, if we talk about your industry, tackling the changes that the workplace has gone through over the past couple of years, if you could share your idea on that.
Sure. So as you all know that we are a growing startup, we have turned unicorn last year. So basically, as it has happened with most of the startups over past couple of years, that the objective has slightly changed. I mean, now the focus is basically balancing growth and profitability together. So earlier the focus was purely on growth at the sake of profitability, but now what we want is a sustainable, profitable growth, not just growth. I mean, the growth should come with a lot of profits and a lot of sustainability attached to it as well. So I think that is one big change, I think, which has happened over last 2 years, and it is, I think, across all the startups, not just ours. So this is one broad theme. I think the second is that within No Broker, so we consider ourselves as the PropTech firm, right? So we started with only a subscription business, 7-8 years back. But now over last 2-3 years, we have really become a very, very integrated kind of player, catering to all the needs of customers, which may arise during a real estate transaction. So whether it is a packer and mover transaction or a painting transaction, or whether it is a home interior or home cleaning transaction. So we are now present all across. In fact, we are adding a lot of other value-added services for the customer. So what we want is that, since we know whether the customer is making a buy or sell decision or a rent decision, we are aware about it, and we want to basically associate with the customer to make sure that all the other transactions are also happening in a smooth manner. So I think these are the broad two themes which has probably shaped how we kind of work at No Broker. And I think with that, obviously there has been a lot of expectations from HR, which has come in both from talent acquisition as well as from the other HR roles. So, so now basically every new person that we hire, we focus a lot on making sure that we are utilizing our resources properly. We are having effective use of resources. The productivity is up to the mark. And then only we are going ahead and hiring new fresh talent. At the same point in time, since the requirements of all the businesses are very, very different, the requirement from talent perspective also changes. So somebody who might fit in an interior business will not fit into a packers and movers business. And somebody who might fit into a, say, home loan business will not fit into a No Brokerhood business, which is completely different. So I think these are the few things which basically have changed over past couple of years. And these are the themes which has had a direct implication on HR's way of working as well.
Thank you, Gaurav, for sharing your thoughts. Indeed, we got a very clear perspective as to how No Broker as an organization is strategizing its entire talent management strategy. So moving forward, if I may ask you, how do you see the importance of soft skill evolving in the future?
So soft skills, according to me, has been one of the most important sought after skill over last 7-8 years. So if you see the roles of the past, if we go back, say 10 years ago, most of the roles would be back-end roles, probably less of client interaction, less of involvement, less of interacting with other stakeholders, etc. But now, if you see in all the organizations, mostly all the roles are client-facing roles. So say, for example, you consider a food delivery company like a Zomato or a Swiggy. Even a delivery boy is expected to be having a lot of good soft skills, right? So because he is facing the client. Similarly, for a Ola or Uber, the driver that they are onboarding, I mean, the driver should also possess good soft skills because he's the one who will be interacting with the customer, and that is where the company's perception or brand image will go for a toss. I mean, if the interaction does not go very well. So what I've seen is that over past 7-8 years, most of the roles have now become client-facing roles. So even at No Broker, I mean, if I see, we employ around 5,500 employees now, and most of the roles are client-facing roles. I mean, there is no role as such wherein a person is not expected to interact with clients, and hence soft skills play a very, very important role. So one is this. Second is, I mean, with the new generation coming to the working population, the expectations have also become very high. I mean, they want a fast-paced career. They want to get into new roles very quickly. They want to lead a team very fast. So somebody who is a fresher out of college, he might want to do an individual contributor role for a couple of years, and then he would want to basically lead a team or get into a team contributor role. So, I mean, and obviously, I mean, once you get into that particular trajectory, your technical skills become secondary, and your people management and soft skills become your primary skills, because that is where you basically will be able to create difference. So I think the trend is going to continue. I mean, with all the gig economy coming in, a lot of people now moonlighting, etc. So what is happening is that the mediator, I mean, the mediator is also no more there. A client is directly interacting with the person who is actually executing the work. So with that coming in, I think soft skills, I mean, are really going to be very, very important in future. People are expected to do really well because they'll be directly facing the clients, and they'll be the ones who will be creating a perception or image of the company in front of clients. So I think, yeah, I think what has happened over the last 7-8 years, I think it is going to go more aggressive with respect to soft skills and people management skills.
Well explained, Gaurav. In fact, I was about to ask you about the new generation. You have already mentioned that in your answer. So, if I deep dive a bit more, since I've already mentioned that how the expectation of the new generation is gradually changing. So, could you just throw some more light as to how exactly the expectations of the new generation differ from those of the previous generation?
Yeah, so I think there are 3-4 common themes which are there. So one is that earlier people used to consider 2-3 years as also a good enough tenure. I mean, so our father generation, probably for them, probably they would work with 1 or 2 companies for their entire work life, right? But no, I mean, 5-6 years back, the trend was that even 2-3 years was considered as a good enough tenure. Now the Gen Z, I mean, does not shy away from basically changing jobs or shifting roles, even in say 1 year or less than 1 year, and they are okay to do that if they are not enjoying the role. So I think their expectations have become much more demanding. They want the organization to provide them with meaningful work, a work out of which they can see value coming in. So this is one. They don't, I mean, require them to be doing a mundane kind of work. So they would want a direct value addition to the overall business growth. So that is something which they are looking at. And then with COVID also coming in, a lot of people are now demanding a lot of flexibility with respect to working hours, flexibility with respect to working from anywhere, whether it is from office or home. And then they also want to grow very fast in the career. So they would, as I said earlier as well, that people are there who would want to basically take up a larger responsibility. They would want to basically grow exponentially in their career. So in order to make sure that these requirements are catered to, organizations are, I mean, adopting a lot of new things. In fact, we have also started doing a lot of things. And one good thing with us is that we have so many businesses, so we can look at a lot of role changes for people. So somebody who has got experience in one vertical can be transferred to other vertical if he's interested, and that new vertical will give him a kick for at least next 6 to 9 months, because the role itself is going to be completely new, even if it is at the same level. So not necessarily, I mean, we have to always look at a vertical growth, or these guys are looking at vertical growth. Even a role change laterally is also adding a lot of value to their learning and their career.
Well mentioned, Gaurav. I believe if I have to take one key takeaway from your answer, that would be talking about the new generation. It's less of sticking to a particular role for a long time and more of what the role has to offer, what flexibility does an organization has to offer to the new generation. I think the focus has shifted more onto that space. Well, makes sense.
I think
I
one more point, which probably they are looking at is instant recognition or instant gratification. So earlier, people used to wait for their lifetime to basically take the benefit of gratuity, NPS, and retirement funds, etc. People now want instant rewards. They would want, if they have done a good work, they would want their manager or HR to basically come
right.
forward and appreciate them publicly, or probably over an email, or probably just a pat on the back. So that is also something which is really different from what it used to be there earlier.
Rightly mentioned. Yeah. So Gaurav, another thing I'm curious to know about that, when we talk about HR, I believe, there are so many challenges one faces in a day-to-day basis. So if I would ask you to share some of the most prominent challenges that you have faced in the talent acquisition space, and most importantly, the strategies that you have adopted to overcome them over the years, if you could share that with us.
Yeah, so I think one is that so basically we cater to 4-dimensional business requirements when we supply talent. So and these 4 dimensions are, one is that there are multiple businesses, right? As I mentioned, we have packers and movers, interiors, home loan, legal, rental advisory, buy and sell services, rent services. So we have multiple businesses. So one is this dimension. Second is that we are present across almost all the metros of India. So there is a locational dimension as well. So our talent acquisition team is basically based out of Bangalore, but then we hire people all across India. Third is that there are a lot of functions within various functions. So, say, for example, an interior vertical would have a supply chain function, a operations function, or a sales function, while probably a rental subscription business would have a tech function, a sales function, and a servicing function. So there are a lot of different peculiar functions which are specific to each of the functions, each of the businesses. And last is that, there are multiple levels of seniority or roles that we hire for. So we hire from an entry level telecalling sales role to a VP of sales role as well, right? So there is a huge dimension over there as well. So what we have done is that we have divided our TA team in such a manner that we create SMEs for a particular role as well as for a particular business as well. And the talent acquisition team basically crisscrosses across these 2 dimensions so that we are able to cater to the needs of the business. So I think this is one such challenge, and we have tried to solve it through how we have structured the talent acquisition team. So basically, if I talk about junior level hiring, wherein we hire people in bulk, okay. So there the biggest challenge that we face is that how do we assess with a higher degree of validity or probability that the people are going to be good performers or right fit for the role. So I think that is a big challenge, because there we hire a lot of people in bulk, and we have to be very sure we cannot depend just on the interviews, because interviews are always going to be people dependent. So there what we have done is that we have implemented a lot of assessment process. So there is a communication test that we basically do. It is a scientific test, and it gives us a rating on various parameters, whether it is fluency, whether it is rating on a communication, spoken English or a written English. So that way we are able to filter out people who are not so good at communication, because as I said earlier, that most of our roles are client facing roles. And then there is a basic aptitude check as well. So since our business is not so easy, it's very complex, we would want people to come up with a basic sense of understanding about numbers and logic to be able to perform well. So I think that is how we are solving that particular problem. If I talk about the leadership hiring, so most of our verticals, so we keep on starting new verticals depending on the need of the customer. And there, generally, since it is a fast-paced environment, we're a startup, growing startup, the time is of essence, right? So we would want initial few people who join in that particular vertical to be very, very smart people, and they should be trained to basically start the vertical. We would not have a lot of time to basically train people, right? So initial few people have to be self-starter, they should be able to take initiatives, and they should be able to give a particular direction to a vertical. So there, the talent pool becomes very limited, and we also follow very stringent criteria of basically evaluating and assessing people. So there, a lot of other parameters that we have finalized over a period of time, what works for us or not. and we look for those profiles only which fit in those requirements. So yeah, so these are some of the examples how we are basically solving the challenges which are there for our TA function.
Very nicely mentioned, Gaurav. Indeed, it's an exciting thing for us. The more we converse with human resource professionals, we realize how different variety of, problems one faces each and every day, and most importantly, how beautifully HRs are, strategizing to solve this entire situation that comes along the way. So, Gaurav, well, this brings to the end of the conversation today. I would like to thank you once again for sharing such amazing insights with us. I absolutely loved conversing with you, and I hope our viewers will also resonate with it too. So, with that, thank you once again, and we will be back with yet another exciting conversation next week. Till then, stay safe, everyone, and have a lovely week ahead.